This is Burning Out on the COVID Frontlines, a doctor's memoir of fatherhood, race, and perseverance in the pandemic, by Dhaval Desai M.D. Narrated by Dhaval Desai M.D. Chapter 1, A New Virus, February 23rd, 2020, 7:36 a.m. Our newborn son was fast asleep in the bassinet next to the hospital bed. Yogita and I had just fallen asleep. We'd been up all night coordinating feeding, changing diapers, going through different hospital assessments. The new morning nurse poked her head in to say hi and put our name on the dry erase board. Barely awake and groggy, Yogita smiled and whispered hello. My eyes were dry from sleeping with my contacts in, and my throat felt scratchy from the hospital air. I could see the outline of my wife's head leaning against the headrail with a small light near the sink. She was sleepy but still had that glow as she looked down at our baby boy. Even though we'd been through this before with our daughter, on this quiet morning, it all felt brand new. Though nauseous from a combination of exhaustion, stress, and adrenaline, underneath we felt the sort of feelings of new parenthood. Wonder, tenderness, gratefulness, joy. With the arrival of Kaveh, our new son, at last our family of four felt complete. A promising year lay ahead, and with it a sense of hope, enlightenment, and excitement. I had just enough time to grab a coffee from the hospital lobby before I was due back to my wife and son. That morning, we were to meet with a lactation consultant and prepare for discharge the following day. In the background, Good Morning America was on the small TV mounted on the wall, the Chiron breaking news about a novel coronavirus. Kaveh was in my arms, wrapped in a few swaddle blankets, too many, opening and closing his dark brown eyes while my wife ate bland oatmeal. The TV screen kept cutting to images of the Diamond Princess, a cruise ship now quarantined with coronavirus cases, and more new cases were beginning to appear in Seattle and Oregon. I'd heard about the situation in Wuhan and Italy, and even now seeing it in the western corner of the United States, it just seemed far away. It wouldn't make its way to Georgia. This would be quickly contained. Coronaviruses I knew are here already. I'd seen different forms of the virus in pediatric populations during my training. It manifests with routine symptoms and is categorized as the common cold. I continued watching Good Morning America, assuming that this new coronavirus would be no different. As a doctor and director of hospital medicine and a leader to other physicians, I felt I would know if this were truly worrisome. A story, after all, is always breaking news. How better to capture our attention and keep us riveted? This breaking news reminded me of a promise I'd made, that these next 10 days were going to be different. My family had just grown, and I was determined to not be consumed by competing problems and situations at the hospital. I had supremely talented and capable colleagues covering me. This was my time with my family. As the news went to commercials, my thoughts went to my son. I love you. I gazed down at him. I will always protect you. That morning, I experienced the routine of hospital dynamics and flow, but from the other side, nurses, a visit from the pediatrician, and OBGYN, paperwork. The number of hospital workers who entered our room, upwards of 20, each with a different job to do, all within 24 hours, was uncanny. We all interacted happily with one another with smiles and handshakes as in any other normal day. Our room was almost always full. Kaya, our 4-year-old daughter, had visited the previous day with both sets of grandparents. When I took her in to meet her new brother, her eyes grew wide and she gripped my hand tighter. With a big smile and a squeal, she started jumping up and down and hurried to the bassinet and gently whispered, "Hi, baby. I'm your big sister." My wife and I locked eyes as the new big sister gently patted her new brother. When it was time for a feeding, Kaya, who had been holding the baby under close supervision, refused to give him up, thinking she could do it as she did with her dolls at home. Worried about her adjustment, we made sure to give Kaya extra love in those first early days. I noticed that at one point we had 6 adults, a 4-year-old child, and a brand new baby crammed into one small room. Remodeled yet still tiny, the room was designed for a new mother and her baby with one side couch for a family member. On ours, the grandparents were all jammed together, passing the baby from one to the other. I was nervous about germs and exposures. A newborn's immune system has yet to develop. While the baby was being held by one of the grandmothers, my father let out a dry cough. Taking no chances, I requested that he wash his hands immediately and sanitize with alcohol. That we were packed together in a hospital room, breathing on one another while admiring this new baby, was nerve-wracking. From my work in pediatrics, I had seen a fair share of newborns sick in the first few weeks of life, and I worried that my son...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?